Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Week 5 Vegas spread picks. I'm ready to go, and I have good news and I have bad news for you. The good news is last week on the upset video, we hit the Texans long shot at plus 450. We also had the Jags. The bad news is 2-2 on the money picks. And I have to be honest about one of the picks. Like, for instance, the Rams pick was minus 3.5. It was a borderline money pick, yes. But out of all the bets I placed this year, it was the worst process of all of them. And that epitomizes the variance of early season in the NFL, especially with all of these injuries. I'm ready to get this money. I'm ready to unload. We're at week 5. It's getting serious now, and let's get this money. First game, we got the San Francisco 49ers at the Las Vegas Rams. 49ers plus 6.5. I will be doing a separate video on this tomorrow. There's a lot to break down with it. Let's get to the other game. We got the Las Vegas Raiders at the Indianapolis Colts. Raiders plus 6.5. Money, money, money. Money! I am ready to go with this. Colts minus 6.5, making a money pick. I've been impressed with the Colts so far this year, and one thing you need to do against the Raiders is you need to run the ball. You need to have run-pass balance, because if you unload and throw it 30, 40, 50 times against this Raiders defense, you give this Raiders pass rush, which for me is the strength of their team, a chance to unload on you. But this Colts offensive line has been just absolutely phenomenal this year, and everyone wants to talk about Danny Dimes, Indiana Jones, whatever you call him. But this Colts team has just been so balanced, and the game plans on offense have been so fluid. I've also been impressed with this Colts defense. And what do the Raiders want to do on offense? They want to run the ball. And that's the one thing the Colts defense has been superb at stopping. And we saw the Rams run the ball well every single game this year, but the Colts gave them resistance, and it gave the Rams problems on offense. I know Stafford ended up putting up 330 yards passing, but that Colts defense put in an absolute shift. And with the way Geno Smith is coughing up the ball, the interceptions, at what point does his confidence get shaken? At what point do the Raiders, dare I say, think about making a change? Like, I didn't think we'd be at this point with the Raiders. We finally saw Gente go off. We finally saw the Raiders have some luck in that game against the Bears, and it was all for naught. And I do wonder about this game. Like, if this game gets close, or if this game goes into the third quarter with the Colts leading by -3, do you trust Pete Carroll? I hated the way he settled for that long field goal on the last drive, and I feel like Pete Carroll lost that game more than Geno Smith's interceptions lost the game. Give me the Colts minus 6.5. Make it a damn money pick. Next game, we got the New York Giants at the New Orleans Saints. Giants plus 2.5. Listen, I got the Giants to win in the cover, but I have no confidence here. And for me, like, I honestly think Spencer Rattler hasn't been bad this year. And when you look at the offense, you go player for player, I think the Saints have a better offense. But for me, man, the difference in this game is the Giants' defensive line. I just think this Giants defensive line is going to control and boss the game. Now, I have been loving Kellen Moore's game plans, and I felt like the Saints were unlucky at times against the Bills, as crazy as that sounds. And everyone thought the Saints would go in there and just be a whipping boy and a laughing stock, and they gave a great account of themselves, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. And the Saints defensive line, like, when is Chase Young gonna play? Like, I'm not even asking for Chase Young to, like, do something. I'm just asking when Chase Young is gonna suit up and play. It feels like every week he's questionable. And you could talk about Jackson Dart. You could talk about his inspiration he gave the Giants. You can talk about that stiff arm he laid on that 30-yard scramble. I wasn't surprised by the Giants covering. I had them to cover, not beating my chest. I'm just scared of the 6-point lays. But one thing that impressed me about the Giants was Scatterboo and this Giants offense having run-pass balance. And Malik Neighbors went out early, and Dart's not going to have him to go into battle with. But give me the Giants to win in the cover in a really, really tough Superdome. If Malik Neighbors was out here, I would trust Dart to will this. But I just have to finish with, I was really impressed with Dart, and I didn't know what I was going to see, and we didn't see a lot in terms of him throwing the ball, but we saw a lot in terms of his leadership. And I feel like once Russell Wilson leaves the team, once he goes to the bench, it's a Russell Wilson bounce, and Jackson Dart gave him that. So give me the Giants plus 2.5 to win in the cover. No damn science. Next game, we got the Minnesota Vikings versus London Cleveland Browns. Vikings minus 3.5. I'm just going pure fundamentals and going Vikings to win in the cover. You know it's bad when we're talking about travel arrangements, and the Vikings obviously are set up better in this game. Browns have to travel overseas this week, and you look at the Vikings, and that was a horrid performance against the Steelers, and it seems like everyone's focusing on Wentz and trying to cook me about that. No, like, Wentz wasn't even close to the issue or problem in that game. The big issue was that Brian Flores defense, and you saw this Vikings pass rush just be left without ideas with Van Ginkel not out there, and it looks like Van Ginkel's going to miss another game, and so you can't really rely on the Vikings defense. The reason why I'm going Vikings to win in a cover, I just think this is a really tough spot for Dylan Gabriel. And, I'm surprised Stefanski made the switch this quick. Maybe he knows something we don't. Maybe Gabriel is absolutely cooking in practice. We saw him in preseason, and I got to say, I wasn't impressed. If you had to say, Lawson, you love it or fade it, I would fade it. But like I said, I like watching guys in real football, in the NFL football, and I don't judge the college film at all. But I'll let you guys judge that and microanalyze that. I am just going Vikings minus 3.5, winning the cover. Brian Flores against a young rookie quarterback. There is no fucking science. Next game, we got the Denver Broncos at the Philadelphia Eagles. Broncos plus 3.5. I got the Eagles to win in the cover. And on Patreon for the Monday night, I just had Chase Brown under rushing yards for the Bengals. But that had absolutely nothing to do with the Broncos' run defense. The reason why I'm going Eagles to win in the cover was I was concerned with this Broncos run defense against the Chargers, but most importantly against the Colts. And Saquon Barkley had a tough time last week, but we know you're going to have a tough time against the Bucs and a Todd Bowles defense. The main thing you want to do against the Eagles is make Jalen Hurts throw it and put the game on his back and make him beat you. You especially want to do that when you're able to card out some of the secondary players like Surtain that the Broncos have at their disposal. But I just think this is the Eagles running the ball and pounding the living hell out of a Broncos front that hasn't convinced me. And it's just on the other side of the ball, I know it's not going to show up because one of those interceptions was taken off the board by a phantom penalty. But Cooper DeJean is absolutely phenomenal, and I just see him lurking around in Bo Nix's vision, and I wouldn't be surprised if he got an interception in this game. And I'm just looking at the Broncos, and I like the Harvey injection. I like how some of these wide receivers like Franklin are playing, but I just can't count on Bo Nix, and I also can't count on Sean Payton, as crazy as it seems. Like, even against the Chargers, the Broncos left a lot of points out on the board. I know that Broncos +3 money pick a few weeks back was a push. I know they probably should have won the game, but there were 4 or 5 deep balls that Bo Nix just didn't put in the right place. And I bring this back to Sean Payton. It's like, you get Evan Ingram, and I get excited about that. That's exactly what the Broncos needed. They needed someone who's reliable, especially in the intermediate areas, to complement Cortland Sutton. There's only so many quick bubble screens you can throw to Marvin Mims, and that shit has a shelf life. But we've yet to see Ingram fully ingrained, and that's a big issue with the Broncos. I just think this is a tough spot for the Broncos. Monday Night Football, you go across the fucking country, and you have an Eagles team that, for me, I don't think the Eagles played that well against the Buccaneers, but I think the Eagles played great this game. Eagles winning the cover with the -3.5. Next game, we got the Dallas Cowboys, them boys, at the New York Jets. Cowboys -2.5. Money, borderline. It sucks having to do this. It sucks having your reputation put on the line with the Cowboys going on the fucking road. But I got the Cowboys to win in the cover. Now, I do worry about the Booker and Guyton injury on the Cowboys offensive line. Booker's going to miss the game. Guyton's questionable. Cowboys fans, chime in the comment section. But I was really sure about Miami last week on Monday night. And I obviously couldn't make it a money pick because of the pushback I would get. And betting on the Dolphins is a strange and crazy proposition in 2025. But this Jets defense has been a fucking disappointment for me. And Aaron Glenn's been a fucking disappointment. And, you know, this Jets defense, it was never going to be a top 5, top 7 defense on paper. But out of all the units, both sides of the ball in this league, I've yet to find a unit that has let me down more than this Jets defense. They play a lot of man-to-man, and Aaron Glenn's mixing in more zone, but they're just not staying with people. And they're even dropping coverages. Like, the Steelers game is the best example about it. They're getting beat physically, but they're also getting beat mentally, and I'm not sure they're going to put much of a pass rush on Dak. Now, you do wonder, well, what are the Jets going to do at quarterback? Are we going to see Tyrod Taylor? Or is it going to be Justin Fields? I mean, this is one where if Tyrod Taylor is slated to start, I would have a lot of caution because what do you want to do against the Cowboys defense? What do you want to do? You want to fucking throw the ball and sling it against that secondary. That secondary has been comically bad, and they're not going to give you a pass rush. They aren't. But with Justin Fields, the Jets just don't look like they're comfortable doing it, and they get one-dimensional, and at a certain point, yeah, it's great running the ball 9 times with one pass on a drive, but in this league, in this current environment, with the current rules, you have to mix in the pass or your quarterback goes cold, and it just doesn't work, no matter how great your running attack is. So give me the Cowboys to win in the cover in this game. Another underrated aspect I like of the Cowboys this year, and one reason why I thought they could give the Bears a game, even though that didn't happen, is I like the way Javonte Williams is running. I like the way the Cowboys are opening holes up front. Give me the Cowboys -2.5, winning the cover, make it a damn money pick. I'm going long on this video. Next game, we got the Miami Dolphins, Tua at the Carolina Panthers. Panthers +1. Panthers winning the cover. And that Panthers money pick last week was fucking tragic. But in my defense, you know, the Patriots went in to score and to make it 20-6. But if you're watching the game, you would say, Well, Panthers are kind of getting the better of this game, and then we saw that game completely spiral out of control. But I just think losing Tyreek Hill for the Miami Dolphins is going to be something that is just too big to come back from. And you also look at Miami, like the Panthers aren't a disciplined team. Look at them on special teams in the first half. But this Finns team isn't a disciplined team. They made dumb penalties yesterday that could have just extended the game and gave the Jets a chance to win. Give me the Panthers +1, winning the cover. Not a lot of science. I do think the home field advantage is a big factor in this game. Next game, we got the Tennessee Titans at the Arizona Cardinals. Titans +7.5. Titans to cover. Actually, give me the Cardinals to win in the cover. But the Cardinals are a pretty bad team with a pretty big injury report. But the Titans are the worst team in the league with the worst coach in the league. I'm not going to overthink this. Cardinals winning the cover. Next game, we got the Tampa Bay Bucs at the Seattle Seahawks. Bucs +3.5. Give me the Bucs to cover, Seahawks to win. But, I should just start doing what other people are doing earlier in the year. Give me Baker in a basketball game against Sam Darnold, and that's how I'm making my picks. That might be more effective in the first 3-4 weeks of this NFL season with all the variants. Like, I'm seriously saying that. That might be a better strategy. But I think going on, we have to talk football and we have to talk X's and O's. I got the Bucs to cover, Seahawks to win. But I would not be shocked at all if the Seahawks won and covered because Seahawks have more rest. Seahawks are playing at home. The Seahawks offense is in rhythm. They're able to run the ball, and they're able to protect Sam Darnold. I still think the Seahawks offensive line has some issues in the interior, but the way they're mixing up the play calls and using the play action is really protecting Sam Darnold. And Smith-Njigba's been looking like an elite receiver in this league, and I can't say I'm shocked by it, but I'm pleasantly surprised. I didn't like the combination of Cooper Kupp with Smith-Njigba because I feel like they work in the same areas. But even with that being said, I just feel like the Bucs are too banged up to win this game. I think Baker does enough to get this Bucs team to cover everything that could go wrong against the Bucs. Everything that could go wrong for the Bucs in the first half did go wrong against the Eagles, and they still almost had a chance to steal that game. Give me the Bucs to cover, Seahawks to win. Next game, we got the Detroit Lions at the Cincinnati Bengals. Lions -10.5. Money, money, money. Money. Dan Campbell. Next game, Lions winning the cover. I'm joking. It's just this Bengals defense is terrible. And you can talk about Browning all you want. And I know a lot of people are focusing on that. And honestly, if I was the Bengals, I think you have to. You're 2-2 right now. I think you need to get famous Jameis Winston in there ASAP. Do they have the balls, the moxie, the gusto, whatever word you want to use for it, to go get him? I don't think they do. But the big issue for this Bengals team for me is their offensive line. And you could talk about how bad the defense is, and we'll go there later in this pick. But I just want to start with this Bengals offensive line, and I don't think Browning's going to have enough time to survey the field and get to more than one option. And you can try to force feed Jamar Chase the ball all you want, but if you have 2.5 seconds to throw every single play and that's your max time, it's just going to be difficult, and they're not going to get the run game going. It's just not going to happen, especially against the Lions. On the other side, this is a Lions offense that's an absolute freight train, and they got going again. And everyone kept saying last week when I picked the Lions, oh, the Browns have the best run defense in football. The Browns are better than the Texans on defense. Like, I love this Browns defense, but you need to play complementary football in this league, and And the Browns didn't do that. But the Lions are going to have the ball a lot in this game, and they're going to be able to pass. And I think this is the week where the Lions open up and throw the ball for over 300 yards. Give me Goff, alt lines. Give me the Lions to win in the cover with the minus 10.5. Give me St. Brown, alt lines. Give me Jamison Williams, alt lines. Give me all of it. Same game parlay. Lions minus 10.5. Make it a damn money pick. And Michael Mann was saying something to me last week with all the variants, with all the crazy shit, all the bad beats that have been happening across the league. Why not look at that first half line? Why not look at the Lions first half if you don't want to lay 10.5 in this league, which is fair fundamentals and it works mathematically. So Lions first half as well if you're a little bit skittish about laying 10.5, which you should be skittish if you want to do this gambling thing long term with the 10.5. Next game, we got the Houston Texans at the Baltimore Ravens. Texans minus 2.5. Texans winning the cover. It's taking all restraint I have not to bet the Texans. But I want to show respect to Cooper Rush. I want to show respect for a Texans offensive line that just isn't up to requirements at NFL level. I mean, I do think the Bengals are the worst offensive line in the league, but Texans are 31, and Texans make a lot of mistakes. But I got the Texans to win in the cover. I just can't bet it because there's free rushers on Stroud. Like, the Texans will have 5-6 guys protecting the passer. 3 guys will rush, a zone blitz, a 4th guy comes, and then he's just unencumbered to Stroud. And this was a problem dating back into last year. But the reason why I have the Texans to win in the cover is because I think the Texans will be able to run it a little bit. And without Matabuke, like Van Noy should come back. But the Ravens have other injuries on defense. I just feel like this Ravens defense is decimated. And the secondary isn't decimated, but they haven't covered anyone all year. So if you think Cooper Rush is going to come in and whip work and have the game of his life, like, it's possible. The Ravens have tools on offense, and that's why I'm getting a little bit cautious and I'm walking on eggshells into this game. But I probably shouldn't. I really shouldn't, because as much as people hate on Stroud and try to blame him for the issues with the Texans, he's far from the problems. Texans winning the cover with the minus 2.5. This is one I'm going to have to take down to Friday to see if I bet it. I want to, but it's just the league's been very, it's just the variance, the waves. It's been a tsunami. Next game, we got the Washington No-Names at the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers minus 3. Money. Borderline. I told you guys last week, I wasn't too confident about it, but I told you the Falcons would beat the Commanders. And I think the Chargers bounce back in this spot against the Commanders. Now, Jaden Daniels and Scary Terry could play. That is true. Did the Chargers play good against the Giants? No. Their offense was just absolutely horrendous. And we saw some of the same issues we saw last year. Wide receivers not creating separation. But the big issue for the Commanders last week against the Falcons, and I think this will continue to be an issue for the Commanders, and it certainly was an issue last year, is this Commander secondary is pretty bad at times. And I think this is a get-right spot for Justin Herbert. I also do think the Chargers defense can control this game. And I like this matchup against the Commanders. And as long as you're able to stop the Commanders' run game, I think the Chargers can put themselves in a good position. If this is Mariota, you have to bet it. If it's Jaden Daniels, you have to take a deep breath and think about this matchup. Give me the Chargers to win in the cover. Borderline money pick. Next game, we got the New England Patriots at the Buffalo Bills, Patriots +8. I have the Patriots to cover, Bills to win. And credit to what the Patriots did last week against the Panthers. The special teams is what really did the Panthers in, like I said earlier in the video. I got the Patriots to cover, Bills to win. And this is one like I normally wouldn't have much of a lean on. But I do think this is a great spot for the Patriots to cover, and I don't know why. Maybe the Bills are lulling us to sleep. Maybe the Bills are in jog mode like the Chiefs were for the last 4 years at times during the regular season. The schedule for the Bills certainly isn't a litmus test by any means. I think it's the weakest schedule in the NFL. And it's especially weak considering you have Josh fucking Allen. But I think the Saints ran for 150, 170 yards against the Bills defense. And I know, I know the Bills ended up getting the better of that game. But I just feel like that Bills defense is extremely vulnerable. And I really like Drake May to make plays in this game. And I think he's going to get a lot of time. And I think the Patriots are going to have some semblance of a run game. And if the Patriots have a run game on offense, I think they can open up. I think the Patriots can get comfortable. And I just look at this Bills offense once again. I think you can scheme for them. I think you can scheme for these wide receivers. I don't think the Bills have a top 5 roster in the NFL. They have the best player in the NFL. They have the best quarterback in the NFL in Josh Allen. But I think people highly overrate this roster. While I do think the Patriots roster has a lot of fucking concerns, man. Vrabel's got a lot of work, and he tried warning people who are predicting 11, 10 wins going into the year. He tried to just taper expectations. But with that being said, I think the Patriots keep this close. I think the Patriots lose by 4, 5, 6 points. I just think the 8's way too much. Patriots cover, Bills win. Josh Allen's just too fucking good for an upset. Next game, Monday Night Football. We got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Jacksonville Jags. Chiefs -3.5. Chiefs win, Jags cover. I've picked the Jags to cover every single week. And I'm not seeing anything that's changing my litmus. I think that was a professional game from Trevor Lawrence. Something that's been missing. Trevor Lawrence has been extremely sloppy with the football to start this year. And it's cost the Jags. And I finally saw him play a professional game. And I think that's going to help the Jags in this matchup. Credit to the Chiefs for what they did against the Ravens. They might have just knocked the Ravens out with a knockout blow. And the Ravens could be reeling and the Ravens could be done. Especially with this Lamar injury. But I still think the Chiefs have their deficiencies. And I like the way this Jags defense matches up with the Chiefs wide receivers. And I know Mahomes is playing the best football we've seen in 3 or 4 years. I said that 2 weeks ago, and I stand by it. But I think this Jags defense, I don't want to say for real. I just think this is a good defense, and they're a very competitive defense. And the Chiefs going on the road on the Monday night, you got to take the hook with the Jags. Give me the Jags to cover, Chiefs to win. Not as much science as I like, but I'm really thinking about making this a clear pick for the Jags. But we have to see how the week goes, and we have to see how the injury report goes. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share the videos. The best gambling show on the internet. I want to say thank you to everyone who's on Patreon. Want to say thank you to everyone who shared these videos the first 4 weeks. You guys have been phenomenal, man. And it means a lot to me, man, because with the variances earlier in this year, it's a tough outlet. It's the toughest, thinnest lines in the world, but that's why we love it, and we make money every single year, and we will make money. And I feel more confident than ever. So I just want to say, like, thank you guys for supporting these videos, man. And it means the world to me. And I hope I repay your trust and your time watching these videos. I'm looking forward to getting into this week. Let's get this money. I'll be back tomorrow with the over-unders. Upside should be up Thursday early. And I will have a Thursday night video about the Rams 49ers, and we've been killing the player props. We're going to go deep in the player props for Rams Niners. Let's get this money. Have a good night. Enjoy your Tuesday.